Good morning.
Morning.
Welcome to Unity Orlando. Our opening statement this morning is I live and move and have my being in a sea of God life and God love. Let's all affirm that together. I live and move and have my being in a sea of God life and God love. All right, let's all close our eyes and take a nice deep breath in. And let's affirm that together in the silence. And so it is. And now if you'd like to stand and join us in singing our joy song this morning, it is called For Once I. I recognize your beauty here within me. For once I recognize your beauty here within me. Now I no longer wonder. Now I no longer wonder. Now I no longer wonder. I am grateful. For once I recognize your presence all around me. For once I recognize your presence all around me. Now I no longer wonder. Now I no longer wonder. Now I no longer wonder. I am grateful that I see your beauty within me. I am grateful that I see your beauty within me. And now I see. And now I see. And now I see. I am grateful. For once I recognize your wisdom flowing through me. For once I recognize your wisdom flowing through me. Now I no longer wonder. Now I no longer wonder. Now I no longer wonder. I am grateful.
I am grateful.
Right, thank you. You may be seated.
Good morning, Unity Orlando. How is everybody today? Great to see your beautiful faces. And welcome everybody online. I'm Susan Francis. I'm your platform speaker today. Do we have any visitors here for the first time? All right, well, welcome. I'm glad you're here spending your morning with us. I have just a couple of announcements. Our chaplains pray every evening at 8 p.m. Set your watch not your watch, who wears a watch? I guess I'm an oldie, I do. Sorry. Set your phone alarm for 8 p.m. and join us in prayer. The theme this month is Christ is the Way. Also, a reminder that chaplains are available to pray with you if you need prayer after service. I'm a chaplain, and we have Joy in the house as well. Not only do we have Joy in the house, but Joy, our chaplain. Woohoo! Also today, the women's group meets in the courtyard classroom, and the men's group meets in the prayer for protection room, and that's after the 11 o'clock service. We are very excited because today we have a special speaker. Reverend LuLu Logan is here. Yay, LuLu. I just wanted to, for those who don't know Reverend LuLu, she found unity many years ago, and as many before her, she felt that sense of coming home, a comfort and a truth she has always sensed but had not experienced. I can definitely relate to that. Having traveled a multitude of life paths as well as many faith traditions, Reverend LuLu feels adept at connecting with people in a down-to-earth, no-nonsense, yet gentle kind of way. Since ordination, Reverend LuLu has been a frequent speaker at many Unity as well as Science of Mind churches all around Florida. She facilitates an ongoing weekly book study on Zoom and is a frequent presence on Facebook. She's also a spiritual guide for those seeking a soft place to fall. Reverend LuLu is an avid gardener, bird watcher, bicyclist, and nature lover, and she's also my friend, and she's also my teacher. She's an amazing woman. Today, her talk is the 23rd Psalm. So, but you know me, I gotta tell you a little story. So, let me find my paper. Okay, so there was a woman, or a mother, she saw that there was a thunderstorm forming in the mid-afternoon, and she worried that her 7-year-old daughter would be walking 3 blocks from school to her house. So she decided to get in her car and meet her. And her mother saw her walking nonchalantly along the sidewalk, and she stopped and smiled anytime there was lightning in the sky. And when the little girl saw her mother, she happily ran to her and exclaimed, "All the way home, Mom, God's been taking my picture." Of course, I can relate to that since I'm a photographer, so anyway, I thought that was a cute little one. And I'll turn it over to Brian now.
It's a really nice way to look at lightning. Yeah, God was taking my pictures last night coming home from New Orleans. Like, wow, lots of pictures and lots of rain with that too. But we made it, and we made it late because there was a lot of blockages on the highway. But Bob said, "You must be here on Sunday," and we made it. We made it. So here's a song that I wrote many years ago. It's called "Love Conquers All." Love conquers all. When you're alone, afraid in the dark, love will light the way. When you get lost, it leads you back to the path. When love slips away, light will remain in place of what passes, abundantly proclaimed. Love lights the way. Peace will call my name when I am still. the strength of its love and all of its glory. And then I hear a song, all of its words as they're flowing through me, and I abundantly proclaim how grateful I am. When the darkness falls, love will ignite a flame. When you shine your light, let it shine bright, with a smile from deep within. Love conquers all. When you're alone, afraid in the dark, love will light the way. When you get lost, it leads you back to the path. When love slips away, light will remain in place of what passes, abundantly proclaim. Loving lights the way. Loving lights the way. Loving lights the way.
Good morning, Unity Orlando. No, no. Good morning, Unity Orlando. That's what I'm talking about. Aren't you guys great to be alive? Doesn't it feel wonderful? It's a beautiful day out. It's not yet 94. Right? So, as Susan introduced me, my name is Reverend LuLu Logan. And I am just so grateful to be here. I'm grateful to those people who put a bug in the ear of the one who called me up and asked me to speak today, and I am grateful. It's been a few years since I've been here. So, yay! So I have a little story I want to tell you. It's a little different from Susan's story. There was a retiree in Florida, and he phoned his daughter who lived in New York. And he says, honey, I have bad news for you. My mother and I are sick of each other and we're going to get a divorce. 52 years is just too long to be together. And the daughter's like, are you crazy? What the heck are you saying? We're not going to let this happen. And he said, look, I don't want to talk about it. Just call your brother, break the news to him. So she calls her brother who lives in Detroit, tells him the news, and he's like, no way, that is crazy, that is not going to happen. And so he says, just stay by the phone, I'm gonna call, I'll get this all straightened out. So he calls his dad, and he says, Dad, Sis just told me you're getting a divorce, and that's crazy. We are going to help you resolve this problem. We're going to, both of us, buy plane tickets tonight. We'll be there in the morning. Promise me you won't do anything till the morning. And so the dad says, fine, and he hangs up. And as he clicked, I think he had a flip phone. As he closes the phone, he looks to his wife and he said, okay, sweetheart, it's all situated. The kids are flying down tomorrow for our 52nd wedding anniversary, and here's the best news. They're buying their own tickets. That was tricky, huh? So I want to begin our time together with the 23rd Psalm by asking you a question. Who here today has ever traveled through the dark night of the soul? Raise your hand, because I know it can't just be me. Thank you. And I'm sure there's somebody among us here today who is actually making that journey right now. I know I have, not once, but many, many times. Sometimes it takes us a while to make it to the other side of the void, to the out of the darkness, through the desert. It takes some time. And the truth is, we're always in transition. At one form or another, our life is transforming right within us and around us every single solitary day. But, we don't much like that. But our lives are a constantly changing kaleidoscope, bringing loads of different colors into our lives every day. I personally often find writing poetry when I'm in a dark place to be very helpful. I've written some pretty disturbing, but yet powerful pieces. I find when I read back on them that I really, truly felt lost, truly soul sick. But I also discovered through my poetry that I'm never, ever truly alone. I wrote a sad poem after my 8th miscarriage, and another after my 25th move across the country. I wrote a poem after my youngest son was diagnosed with neurofibromatosis. And I'm sure I wrote one after the collapse of my marriage. I wrote one after I became nearly homeless based on my own poor choices. I wrote one when I had my first stroke when I was 50. Yes, all of us travel through life circumstances, and I'm just telling you those to tell you that I'm not any different from you. It took me some time to develop and implement resources to help me get through those times and others like them. One of the things I am able to easily source was the Bible, specifically the 23rd Psalm. And many Unity churches don't use the Bible or hardly ever reference it. But I must say, just like maybe some of you, I put my Bible on the shelf years ago. But when I went to ministerial school, it was required that I pull it out for my Bible classes. So I dusted it off. And this is an old Bible of mine. It has my old married name embossed on it. But it is my best friend. And it's highlighted and pages have been torn out and I had to tape them all back in. So, yeah. And we should remember that Charles Fillmore, co-founder of our Unity movement, certainly used the Bible and expressly referenced Jesus' teachings. A lot of his teachings, Charles's teachings, came straight from Jesus' teachings. So the Bible should be a friend. We don't have to put it away. Fillmore tells us that the Bible is the story of the unfoldment of our soul, of human consciousness. So I figure if it's okay for Fillmore to use it, it's okay for me to use it, right? So let's examine this ancient song from David and see how we can benefit from it. The very first line, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." For me, that's all I really need. It addresses all of my needs, all of my wants, all of my desires, all of my concerns, and all of my fears. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want for anything. But the word Lord, again, for us Unity people, is not a word that we like. It may sound too fundamentalist. It may sound too mainstream. And we know that those of us who are in this room are not necessarily mainstream or fundamental, right? But it's just another name for the creative force in the universe, that energetic force that we, each of us, are a part of. In fact, Fillmore says in the Revealing Word, the Lord God of the Scriptures is Christ, the spiritual man, our divine consciousness, the creative power within. So we don't have to be afraid of the word Lord, but you can substitute any word you want into that first. The Lord is my shepherd. The source is my shepherd. Divine creative energy is my shepherd. It does not matter what word you use. And the word shepherd denotes one who protects. So when we affirm Jehovah or God or the Lord as our shepherd, we are acknowledging that God is the source of our understanding and of all hope and help. Maybe you're familiar with this poem by Hannah Kohouse called The Prayer of Faith. Do you guys know the Prayer of Faith? You will when I say it to you. God is my help in every need. You know that one? God does my every hunger feed. God walks beside me, guides my way through every moment of this day. I now am wise, I now am true, patient, kind, and loving too. All things I am, can do, and be through Christ, the truth that is in me. God is my health, I can't be sick. God is my strength, unfailing, quick. God is my all, I know no fear, since God and love and truth are here. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? Thank you. This poem is a great comfort, but when I find myself in a place of confusion or feeling upset or feeling all discombobulated, do you guys ever feel discombobulated? Of course, we all do, right? I use Psalm 23 as a mantra as I go about my day. I say it over and over. I'm now pretty good at bringing my self-sabotaging mind back home. I might sing the psalm as a chant or just repeat it again and again, the whole psalm, again and again, but I find it soothing and it helps me internalize non-resistance. It helps me to soften up around the situation, to allow rather than try and find a solution and fix things. To allow seems to be something we humans are not fond of. We are fix-it people. We are fix-it-now people. Many of us, especially we type A's, are there any type A's in this room? Come on, own up to it. Thank you for the one brave soul. Oh, there's a couple more over there. We have a difficult time getting our grubby little hands off the situation and allowing the thing, whatever it is, to divinely resolve itself. We want to get in there and help God, right, don't we? But God doesn't need our help. As we release our grip, unclench our stubborn little fists on what we perceive to be our power, how things ought to be, according to us, and just allow our greater power to soothe and settle us, wow, life just gets a whole lot easier. The situation doesn't get easier. In fact, it just almost never gets easier, but our way of being in the situation gets easier. Our way of being is all that really matters. And so we find ourselves more at peace and more serene if we can let go. When we accept that the creator of absolutely everything is our shepherd and is holding us no matter what the situation, we can, if we choose, willfully accept and yield to God's plan. Listen to this, true surrender is when there is a fundamental, effortless non-resistance to what is. Okay, I'm going to say that again because you all look dumbfounded. True surrender is when there is a fundamental, effortless non-resistance to what is. Can you feel that in your bones? Like seriously, a fundamental, effortless non-resistance. Like I live in that space about that long. This is practical Christianity. And that is what defines our movement that we call Unity. It's practical because it's usable and it's not complicated. And I don't know about you, but uncomplicated is clearly what this woman needs. Charles Fillmore described the 23rd Psalm as a treatment or a prayer to free the mind of the debt idea. And I translate that debt idea to a feeling like I'm in need of something. But the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want or have need of anything. I expand it to allow my mind, as it relates to health and healing, love and relationships, success and goal attainment, and especially peace and contentment. I allow that to come in. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Say that with me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Can you feel that in your bones? We don't have any need to grovel or roll around in the dirt for anything. This first verse is also an affirmation and a denial wrapped into one. The Lord is my shepherd is a definite affirmation and unfailing truth. And the second part of that sentence, I shall not want, is the unfailing denial. This is a prayer of confidence and faith, and we can share it and claim it for those that we love and care about. Okay, the next line. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. Wow, what an amazing promise, right? He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. Because when we get all tangled up in our heads, what we need more than anything is a restoration of the soul. And what is the soul? It's the core, the essence of our individual selves. Fillmore says the soul is the underlying idea behind the expression of you and me, unquote. What a promise that my soul will be restored. Because when I'm in the dark night of the soul, I don't think it'll ever be restored. I will be brought back to myself, my true self, my divine self. Often our problems, as we might want to call them, our problems force us to slow down. In fact, for me and maybe you, I really only do slow down when I'm not able to manage a puzzle. I can't solve it on my own. That's when I turn to God. Anybody else got that going on? That's when I turn to God. I have little need to slow down and get still when everything is hunky-dory and coming up roses, right? I have to, which maybe that's why I have so many issues. God brings me to my knees again and again. This verse urges us to relax and lie down in green pastures. We might find that when life is overwhelming, it's because we're caught up in the rush and chaos of it all. And in those tangles I call life, we need to relax into a more harmonious state. Become still and quiet and meditate on all the positives and focus on gratitude. Now, the peace that we find in this state may only last for a few minutes. That's how long it takes, at least me, to grab back the issue, the problem, the puzzle. But then we're lucky, we can hit the restart button and do it again. Always we can begin again. I love the image of the sheep that the shepherd David uses in this psalm. Sheep are sweet, gentle creatures, but deathly afraid of turbulent water. Because if that turbulent, swirling water gets into their fur, is it called fur? Wool, thank you. That'll weigh them down and they could drown. So they're deathly afraid of that. And David knew that still, calm water was what the sheep required. And I know, as well as you do, that life experience teaches us that a still, quiet heart is what we require. Because I'm sure each of us know from experience that until and unless we become still, we can drown in our own turbulent thoughts. Am I the only one who's experienced that? Of course not. We all can drown in our own turbulent thoughts. The next line says, he leads me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Righteousness refers to a right relationship with the source, with the shepherd, with God. It's a state of synchronization with God. Righteousness is also about our right thinking, our higher level thinking, aligning ourselves with God. I have a reminder on the bathroom wall that I read every morning. May my thoughts be aligned with your love today. And I go to the bathroom a lot. I get to read it every time I go in there. When we are seeking guidance and we don't know what to do next, this is a good statement to use. And I frequently don't know what to do next. I may think I know the next right thing to do, but without getting still and quiet, how can I hear in my innermost being what is mine to do next? If my life is a prayer, and this is my highest goal, to live as though my life were a prayer, right next to being aware of the presence of God. If my life is to live my life as a prayer, then I have to allow the shepherd to guide me by being aligned with my highest level thoughts, with the level higher, not basement level thoughts, high level thoughts. So what does it mean to live my life as a prayer? What does it mean for you to live your life as a prayer? It means to be aware, consciously and constantly, that I swim in an ocean of God. Do you guys know that? Do you know you're swimming in an ocean of God? That right here in this room, really, right here in this room, you are surrounded by the presence of God. Even if you don't know how to swim, God's got you. We swim in an ocean of God. That divine presence that created everything is holding us close. That regardless how the world appears, all is well with my soul. And all is well with your soul. As long as you acknowledge that God is upholding you, holding you close, breathing you and beating your heart. Sounds good, eh? You guys are sleeping on me. Now, do I do this perfectly? No way. I wake up in the morning, sometimes rumble out a few gratitudes, and then I get started on my day with nary another thought toward God for a while, because I'm human, right? And life sometimes bumps thoughts of God out of my way. But that's not how I want it to be. My desire is to be in conscious contact with God. So I have all manner of little tricks that I help myself remember to bring me back to God. Okay, next line. I love this. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. The shadow of death here symbolizes the ending of something. Perhaps an old experience like a job that fills us with fear, or the ending of a relationship that is not in our highest good, or some situation in life that has thrown us a curveball, a health issue, a family problem, or a fill in the blank. You guys can fill in the blank yourself. But nearly every time we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we are filled with fear. I know I was filled with fear when my son was on the operating table with a softball-sized tumor in his abdomen being removed. I've been in a state of fear when I was being audited by the IRS. I have felt fear when my RV lost its brakes as I descended Rocky Mountain National Park, right? If I'm not awake and aware, I can be in fear about something every moment of every day. But still I can claim, I will fear no evil. Remember, evil is lower level, basement level consciousness. Fillmore says, quote, evil is unreality, error thought, a product of the fallen human consciousness, unquote. But are we ever disconnected from God? By faith we state, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. And we may have to say it 100 times an hour. The phrase fear not shows up 365 times in the Bible. That's one for every day of the year. Because humans, we're a fearful bunch. So it's helpful to have a fear not mantra at our fingertips every day. Use it when you're peeling potatoes. Use it when you're walking the dog. Use it when you're standing in line at the bank, maybe especially then. We must know, really know deep within that God is never not with us. Never, never, never. We may move away from source, meaning we fall asleep into spiritual unconsciousness, but source does not move away from us. That can't happen. It's not possible because God and we are one. Just because we fall asleep and we forget about God, God does not ever forget about us. The psalmist continues, "Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me." These tools of the trade for shepherds, these were tools of the trade for shepherds. They were used to gently, or maybe not so gently, urge the sheep to stay within the flock. Now, here's a real question. How many times have you felt the divine 2x4 smack you upside the head? I know I have many times, probably because I'm hard-headed and I'm stubborn and I'm resistant and I'm generally a problem child. Poor God. So now I am on the lookout for the rod and the staff because that has to be more comfortable than a 2x4. And how do I do this? That's right, ladies and gentlemen, conscious awareness. We have to be awake. So we view these items, these symbols of shepherding, as we view them. We're making progress on any level of life, and we know that change will come. And again, generally speaking, humans don't like change. It would serve us to diligently shepherd ourselves, to stay aligned with God in order to receive the good, the blessing from whatever change might be occurring in our lives. We ought be constantly prepared to let go of old experiences to make way for the new. Are any of you in the process of making way for new? Here's where I want you to do this with your head. Good. So we have to let go of the old, right? Because there's no room for the new if you still got the crummy old in place. So, but still that takes not only discipline of one's thoughts, emotions, and reactions, but it also takes awareness in order to do so. We must remain awake. We must remain awake. So here's an excellent affirmation. You ready? I'm going to say it a couple times, so you need to write it down, memorize it real quick. All change in my life has been perfectly timed. All change in my life has been in accord with God's good. I am going through all change easily to meet my supreme good. That's a good one, eh? Okay, I'm going to say it again. All change in my life has been perfectly timed. All change in my life has been in accord with God's good. I'm going through all change easily to meet my supreme good. I love that. My supreme good, highest level good. Aren't we all wanting that? Yeah, you guys, okay, right. All right, last verse. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. When we consider the metaphysical meaning of enemies, remember that those are our error thoughts, our error attitudes, our error beliefs, and even our error behaviors. We might want to contemplate, ponder, think about our interpretation of enemy by looking closely within, prayerfully, and with the idea of humbling and transforming our thoughts, attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors. Another consideration is that lavish table, right? That has been laid out for us. That table carries a message that we have everything we need to deal with the enemy, again, our basement level unconscious thoughts. Our thought life is ours to surrender. If we are abiding, dwelling in, marinating even in dark, negative thoughts, how many of you have done that? How many of you have marinated in negative thoughts? Come on, raise your hands. You too. Thank you. If our consciousness is centered in lower level thinking, we can be sure we are in the presence of our enemies. And where are they located? Bing, 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 right here. The enemies are not the guys outside of this room. The enemies are right inside of us. So, yeah, we've conjured those up. We've made those up. That's a story we've told ourselves. And you know who's the best storyteller of all in this room? Me. Next verse. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup overflows. This is a marvelous prosperity prayer. And when I speak of prosperity, I'm speaking about every life event. Health and wealth and success and happiness and love and inner and outer peace. The head symbolizes wisdom and understanding. Oil denotes wealth. The psalmist was saying, God has anointed my understanding with rich ideas and with rich results, and therefore my cup runneth over. When we truly desire an overflow of prosperity in lives, all we have to do is affirm, Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Isn't that lovely? Yes, isn't that lovely? Thank you. Jeez. All right. Last one. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Regardless of what our life experiences have been up to this moment, this is a wonderful prayer statement to use often for gaining control of our thinking. This prayer can be a changing point for us, from defeat and depression to success and peace, from weakness and sickness to health and healing, from disappointment to happiness and harmony, and from confusion to clarity and wisdom. Just that one verse. Dr. Rocco Errico, which I probably pronounced wrong, is an Aramaic Bible scholar, and he translates last verse like this. Listen, this is going to blow you away. Surely goodness and mercy will haunt me, torment me, dog me, and not leave me alone until I say yes. Yes to what, my friends? To goodness and mercy. Is that not cool? Why would we resist claiming this ancient but powerful prayer affirmation? Surely goodness and mercy will haunt me, dog me, what else? Torment me and not leave me alone until I say yes. Who here's ready to say yes? Yes. We all want goodness and mercy, don't we? Absolutely. So let's go ahead and say the entire psalm together. It's coming. Yeah, look at that. All right, are you ready? The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. May you be blessed always and in all ways. Amen. So now we're going to move straight into meditation. So I ask you to close your eyes and put aside anything you might have in your hands. If you're able, uncross your ankles, your knees, your hands, your arms, and just allow your heart to be open. And if you're comfortable to do so, please close your eyes. And let's just check in with our breath. Just be aware of your breath. Keep your attention on your breath. And so we'll start at the top of our heads, where the fontanelle is, at the very top. Open that up in your mind. Open up that space. And allow the light of God to flow in through you. Golden, golden light to flow in through the top of your head. And let's pause at the spot between your eyebrows, the third eye. Let's just sit there with that and feel that, paying attention to your breath. If your mind begins to wander, bring it back to your third eye. Perhaps you'll feel a little tingle, a little vibration. The more still you are, the more likely it is to feel the presence of God all around your body. Now come on down to your throat chakra, your power, place of power. And just focus on that spot for a minute, still taking care of your breath. Don't forget to breathe. Come on down, drop into your heart, to the beautiful heart space. And watch your heart pump, knowing it's being pumped for you. Continue your breath. Continue breathing. And come on down, down, down to your solar plexus, right above your belly button. It's where all our good ideas come from. It's where our gut is. We talk about listening to our gut. Remember to breathe. If any other thoughts come in, just take a feather in your mind's eye and gently brush that thought away. You don't need it now. Come on back to your solar plexus, back to the place above your belly button. Continue breathing. Now come on down, down to your generative area. It's where we create. Again, pay attention to your breath. Now drop on down to your root chakra, your tailbone, your coccyx, and put your attention there. Still remembering to breathe. Now slide that golden light all the way down your legs to your feet. On the bottom of your feet are roots. Allow that golden light to nurture the roots. And in your mind's eye, see them growing down into Mother Earth. Now you're full of golden light, and you're stable on the earth. So staying with your roots, allowing your roots to stay put, bring that golden light back up, back up, back up, and land back in your heart. Bring your attention back to your heart. Your center of love. And open your heart up even wider. Breathe this next breath into your heart. See the curve of your heart as if it were a smile. And breathe. And as we're here in our hearts right now, think of a person who needs healing, a person who needs love, a person who is dear to you, a friend, a spouse, a child, another loved one. And so envision your heart sending out beams of light and beams of love to this person that you've brought to your mind. Now come back to your heart and see your heart as a cradle enfolding you. You as a little dear one. You. Know that as sheep we are protected, we are guided, we are guarded. Hold in your arms your little one, your little self. And as we move into stillness and quiet, we'll be silent for a few minutes and just stay with your heart. Stay with the young one that your heart is holding, the little baby sheep. And as we come back, not quite yet to the room, remember that your little baby self, your little lamb-like self, is protected. The Lord is our shepherd. We shall not want. And just say that silently for yourself as many times as you need. So no matter what the situation is in your life or in mine, the Lord is our shepherd. We shall not want. When you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back to this time in this space, in this room. Amen and amen. I'm down now.
Thank you, Reverend Lulu. That was wonderful. If the usher would come forward, please, we'll prepare for our offering. I have to come out of that meditation. All right. So for those who are online, if you'd like to give an offering online, you can go to the services, at the end of service, go to our website and you can donate via PayPal or credit card, or you can mail a check here to the office. And for those of us here, we thank you for your donations. We thank you for coming to Unity Orlando. You guys are what make us and sustain us and keep us going. So thank you for that. And so if we can say our offering statement, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive.
Well, thank you very much, Reverend Lulu. That was very inspiring. I love the part where you said that God is everywhere, flowing around us. That's great. We didn't know what you were going to speak about, so I just picked this song that's called Only God Knows. Time I might have stepped out of line and I thought I heard you. I kind of fell off track and it was hard to get back in good graces with you. It might not all be rosy or a fairy tale, but I live my life where you're the wind in my sail. Said you'd always be with me, but I thought you left me and you gave me a scare. That was only a moment in the grand scheme of time, where my faith was tested and we drew a line. And that's the way life goes, that's the way life shows. When our love is tested, change blows. My recollection, only God knows. I hear the wind blowing through the trees, like heaven whispers a gentle breeze. With me, you can never leave me. Can you really help me? Only God knows. Tested on our love light grows. What direction the winds of change blows. My recollection, only God knows. What direction the winds of change blows. My recollection, only God knows.
That was perfect, Brian. Thank you for that. Only God knows. All right. Well, thank you guys for supporting Unity Orlando. Next Sunday, our speaker will be our very own Paul Kenny, and he's going to be speaking on salvation. So, if you would all rise, we're going to say the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us and the presence of God watches over us wherever we are. God is, and all is well.